Uh, Update you guys since the last time I talked with y'all. I know that my pedal video wasn't a smashing hit, uh, but I know it's hard to talk music and what's in your own mind. Either people will get the video or won't, and that's it's okay. But I need to build the pedal board. Um, I was tired of having my pedals all over the floor and everything all scattered and all that kind of stuff. Uh, so it wasn't a big hit, but the reason I haven't been back in a few weeks is because the last time I did a video with you guys, I was already feeling, um, a little rough, a little sick, and unfortunately, for the last almost couple of weeks, 3 4 weeks, I was battling bronchitis. The weather went from warm all the way back down to cold, and just my sinuses and everything in between. And unfortunately, I had bronchitis, and it really it did a number on me. But in that time of being absolutely sick, uh, I don't know how many of you follow Instagram, American Heritage Guitars Instagram, or how many of you follow um, TikTok. I did a little video shoot because I finished the Fallout guitar. But I gotta go back and fix something. This box is the deepest box I tried, and I didn't add um, to the guitar. And unfortunately, with how high this thing is, I gotta push the neck just a little bit forward. Uh, like I said, it's something new I never did. This is the first build I've been able to build in over a year, and I got a little overzealous and thinking I could do what I used to do. And unfortunately, I gotta push this a little up because there's way too much right here. You can see it. So I gotta push the neck forward enough for that for the strings to get down lower. It's the only thing I messed up on it, but it looks great. Got a wood burned. We have an actual hardtail on here. I was gonna use the whiskey barrel straps, but they just wouldn't work. This box is way too thick. This is the thickest box I've ever built and done. Sorry about the light above me, but this is the thickest box I've ever done. It still sounds great. I can play up top. Like I said, I just gotta shift this, take the bolt out the back, shift this up a little forward, and get rid of that. uh, but this thing, it sounds really gnarly. It sounds good. So I just got to go back and fix that. But the Nuka-Cola cap, like I said, for the volume knob, everything turned out absolutely great. These old 1950s parlor tuners, man. Uh, this is the Fallout guitar. So I got a couple of Fallout inspired themes. The cap. This is Fallout. This is called Fallout 73. 73 used to be my football number back in the day. Um, but yeah, I really dig it. My buddy of mine, because I live in Illinois, you just can't go out shooting in your backyard, unfortunately. So I asked a buddy of mine to sling some lead down range. He lives in Pennsylvania, out in the holler, so he can just go out his back door and start shooting. And I said, dude, throw some bullet holes, sling some lead down range. And so these are actual bullet holes. Like I said, this thing's great. That was my only thing, is that this box is the thickest box I've ever done. Let's see if I can't adjust you guys because of that light above me. This is the thickest box I've ever done. Uh, I'll show you the one that I'm working on now just so you can get a picture of it. But I just have to push it forward to just get from your 12th to 16th fret, get that under control. Uh, but yeah, it still sounds great. I can still play up top. So this thing's awesome. Like I said, the 1950 parlor tuners. Because if you play the Fallout game, especially Fallout 4, you have cigar boxes in it. You can take cigar boxes and trade. So I was like, well, let's build a Fallout inspired guitar, and well, we did just that. That's the Brotherhood of Steel. So, like I said, I just got to fix that on that, but that one's done. I did a photo shoot like that with that. So like I said, I don't know how many of you guys follow my Instagram, American Heritage Guitar 79. I don't know how many of you guys follow that or follow TikTok. But I did a lot of updates on that as I was going. But with that bronchitis, I really couldn't speak, guys. So that's why I didn't come back. It's the first live video in 4 weeks because that bronchitis was just literally kicking my tail. But after that, I started on another one. Oh, this damn light. Let me see if I can't just adjust you guys just a little bit. I'm trying to sit you over here because I'm doing some prep work. But like I said, so that guitar was awesome. It's great. It sounds great. I just have to tweak it. Like I said, I wanted to try something different. So I had another build rolling around in my brain. So this one right here. Hold on, let me take the pickup out of here. Well, crap. So this one here is a Padron box. This one is known as Outlaw or Soft. So what I did was, if some of you guys have seen these, they're a lighter color. I only have this one. I don't have any more. They were pulled off the shelves. So, and somebody else grabbed these before I could. Nobody builds cigar boxes where I'm at here in Illinois, especially around here. But so what I wanted to do is I had my cigarette. I was out smoking, and I took my cigarette ashes, put them on the top. I rubbed them in. Then I put the stain on top. So this is a gun stock stain. I mean, not gun stock. This is the honey stain. But I rubbed it on the back, just a little bit on the edges. So with that, I don't know how well you guys can tell with the camera. Try to get it in the light. This changes color. You go from dark to light because of that cigarette stain. I'll have them outside and show you guys. But this thing is great. This is the color they look. This is the stock. That's the stock color. It's almost like a gun stock stain. It's almost like a gun stock. So let's get this back on here and show you because this is the last piece that'll go on here. So what I did was I had this antique. It's probably anywhere from 1890s to 1910 or 1920 doorknob. So your doorknob would go through here. I've got the original doorknob for it, and of course it's the original. So I took this, drilled my holes, and these things were put in by nails back in the day. That's how old and antique it is. The wood knob that I have for this looks like a polished pearl, but it's actually wood stained. So that's why you can tell it's anywhere from the late 1800s to 1910, 1920s. I better if I just try to put you guys over. See if my camera will cooperate with me. Sorry about that. So what I did is I took this very old, very antique, because back in the day this would push up on the door. I had to cut the back strap off of here, but it wrapped around up here. This would lock into the door, and that's what would lock the door. There was no skeleton keys. That's how you could tell that these are late to early. So with that, let me paint you a picture here. So your jack is right there where the door handle would be. And then this is a replica 1950s, late 50s Fender Gibson Jr., the smoke knob. Or just drop it. Knob. So that will all go on there. That'll get bolted down. And then, of course, I had to use the last of my paint supply. I've got so many of these replica period, how they're supposed to be wound and sound. Um, Soap bar P90s. So you seen how I used this one? I painted it. This was emerald green with flake, and then of course I just roughed it up. This one is candy apple red. Let's go back this way here. We go. This is candy apple red, and I just scuffed it up. So another replica 1950s P90. Good old soap bar. And that looks really good. I gotta hold it in here. Ah, everything's gonna fall apart. This damn light. I'm so sorry. This damn light. So that thing's gonna look really good in here. So I've got a lot more tweaking to do here. But what I wanted to do with you guys on here is I wanted to talk about. Make sure I'm not missing anybody's comments. I'm sorry. I already started fretting this new build. And I did this build backwards. How I normally do it is I'll have the headstock. I start on the butt end to get my back angle at 15 degrees. And then I put my fretboard on, and then I glue it on. Well, this time I had to get the box done because the weather shifted on me, and I wanted to get it done and clear. So from 6:30 in the morning to 8:30 at night, I finally got the fretboard done and this box done. Like I said, it looks gorgeous. I'll have to take it outside. It's just rubbing my cigarette smoke in there. It did something to the stain, and I always wanted to try that. And building these folk art guitars. Well, I mean, on average, tuners, frets. These are Jescar mediums. That's what I'm going to do with you guys here in a minute. I'm going to figure out get you better lighting. I might flip you around. Hey, I appreciate you stopping in. You have yourself a great day. So I'm going to get the rest of the fretting done with you guys. And, it's just like doing a normal guitar. Just the only difference is this wood is great. I'm going to try to flip you around here. Let me get all this stuff put back to the side. Alright, let me see if I can't... Let me just flip you around right here. Hopefully the lighting don't mess up. Okay, so I did this build backwards, like I said, because I normally have everything done, and then I'll stain the neck and I'll stain the fretboard. I'll either have my frets in already, or I'll wait and put my frets in. But this time, that day, it was just getting cold, and I was like, I just fell swoop, get this done. So of course you get yourself a headstock. I did, instead of a C shape, I went ahead and gave it like a baseball D shape neck on this thing. I just wanted something that was beefy, because we're kind of going with, a rustic, 1950s, it's beat up, it's been around the block, but of course it's brand new kind of vibe. And I really dug doing that cherry on there. But this is gorgeous. Not marble. Why is my mind drawing a blank when I just told this to myself earlier? It just... Oops. Curly maple. There we go. Sorry. Curly maple. It's just a gorgeous... This stuff, man. Doesn't even show up on camera that well. But this is curly maple. Once I get my honey stain on here, it'll really pop that out, and then I'll put my warm gloss poly on. It'll pop it out even more, which is what I'm gonna do in a little bit. I'm gonna get this whole thing stained. I still have to cut my hole right here. This has to be just a few inches down, 3 1/4, to fit the box lid. So when the box lid goes down, it's not laying on it. You've got the depth from your fretboard. So that's what that line is for. And then these two lines here, that intersects of where the P90 is going to sit. So I have to get that cut, and then I've got to finish doing a back angle. So we're going to start here, thicker, 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 and get thinner right up until about the point of where the P90 is going to sit. So basically, this thing's going to be level, but it's going to sit like this. That's your back angle. Basically, what that does if you're building a guitar, like a Gibson. Gibsons have back angles, and their necks are anywhere from 14 to 15 degrees. They actually do. They notch them. They cut them at 14 to 15 degrees. This one is straight, which means that we're going to have to use this guy. My cat knocked it down. Oh, here it is. Your string tree. So just like a telly or a Strat, we're gonna have to get this thing located so it'll hold the strings down. Then I'll have to do one on my D string. And then this is gonna be our lovely saddle. There's already a groove cut, so I'll put my jumbo in here instead of medium. It'll sit it up a little higher. So with that back angle, when it's in the box, like I said, it's going to be like this. But it's going to look perfectly straight up and down. But with that back angle, we're dropping the back down, which means when you play, you're going to have more action. So we're not hitting the box with our pick. You're going to have about this much. So you're going to have enough room to dig in, play how you want to play, and that's where the back angle comes in at a good 14 to 15 degrees. So that's what I have to get done with all that. But I figured with you guys, so I can get back to jamming in a little bit, I figured with you guys, I'm going to finish my frets here. And then, just so you guys can see this thing, we'll probably get the tuner holes drilled. We're still using the 1950s. I have a lot of these. I love them. The 1950s replica parlor. Just like what you would find on, Gibson used to use them. Fender uses them. I don't remember if you guys, depending on how some of you guys, if you've been on here for 4 years with me, you guys remember my original 1950. It's 50, so it's probably 52 or 55. But my Fender parlor guitar, which means that they're shorter because they're easier to carry. Plus, it fits with the 1800s. And that thing even has the parlor tuners on it. So I'm using Jescar medium fret wire. This is 6 feet, all cut in half. So I already got this halfway done, and it also depends. Because this isn't a real fretboard, from a company or whatnot. This is basically taking my Lowe's yardsticks, because they are, the thickness and the depth is the same as any fretboard on a big guitar. It's just that these aren't bigger. They're big enough to work on 1x2x3. So we took this, which made it into this. So I don't know how well you guys can tell. I might have to go outside with this, but right here, come on, light, in this damn old kitchen. Go look at, just go to my Instagram, American Heritage Guitar 79, And this fretboard is what I call a ghost fretboard. So I did a light honey stain, and then I had this cover that I put over it, and it's got the American flag. It goes the stars, and then it says "We the People." It says "We the People" from here all the way up to here. So it's an American flag, and it says "We the People." It's a ghost. It looks better like if we're outside in the sunlight, because I can't get you guys a good enough view of it. But it's a We the People fretboard. It's absolutely, this thing's awesome. So when I go to put my markers on the top, I can do it two ways. One, I can heat this guy up right here. It's an 0556. I could heat this up and then get my markers done. But I've got one in my wood thing that sort of looks like this, and I think I might use it. Because doing this, it takes a lot longer to heat this up. Well, that's just another one like I took these 9mm. These are the ones that went through the box. And just made myself a little adjustable saddle. But I'm not using that one. We're using this gorgeous saddle right here. Just a little gray guy. But fretting is fun. Well, just pay attention. Make sure I'm not missing y'all's comments. I'm so sorry. It's fun, but don't do it too fast. Because basically you're going to have burrs on the side of these. So watch your fingers, because they'll cut you open. And what I'll have to do with these is I'll take my Dremel, and I'll put my little cutting wheel on it, and I'll carefully cut them off on both sides, and then start crowning the edges and dressing the frets really well. So every time I lay my frets in here, 3 at a time, I take my leveler, I put my leveler on. You put these at an angle. Here, let's see if we can't. There you go. So take your fret leveler, put them on here at an angle. Just go over your frets. It'll tell you if you got a high spot. Usually I mark those. I do a light streak if that happens. I'll do a light streak with my marker, and then I'll come back. I'll get my sander. Well, not an actual sander, but to level my frets, and I'll get that. So my nut, since I'm not using a nut, so my 0 fret is actually a Jescar Jumbo, is what it is. It just helps raise it up a little bit more too. Another thing that's you'll notice is I don't have one of those big giant fret hammers. I'll need to get one, but depending on your age bracket and how old you are, if you worked in the automotive field back in the day, it was given to you as a gift by, if you were the foreman and whatnot. GM Goodwrench had this thing where they had this. I'll have to show you. I'll have to bring it out one day. But it sits about this high, and it's a little toolbox. It's got feet on it, and it has tools in it, just as a display. So of course the ball peen hammer came with it, and this is the dude I use on here. It's so light. Of course the handle's plastic. I just wrap some duct tape around it, give it a little weight, but it's perfect. It doesn't get in the way. Sometimes some people, it's an argument. So some people say that, I just beat my frets in and that's it. Some people say that I add a little bit of glue. Which I need to grab my hand brace. So, thank you guys for reminding me. Get my brace on my hand. So I have my template for this. I'll show you I'll have to grab it. To get my frets nice and even and level. Well, unfortunately, my hand decided it was gonna Okay. My hand decided it was going to give out on me and start with my hand trimmers. So a few of these, one side is a little bigger than the other side because accidentally my hand's twitching, so it as I was cutting. So I only had to glue two of these in so far. So I check them every time. So basically, put your fret in your slot. Nice and level. Just give it a little push, and then hold on to your fret. Hold on to your fret. Grab your wire snippers. Cut it off. Sometimes when I do these, they'll fly halfway across the room. So, with that said, every time I do my frets, so if you're going to do frets at home, you're probably not going to build one of these classic, folk art instruments. So you're probably going to be doing, a Fender, a Gibson, or a Gretsch, or a Jackson, whatever you have at home. But it's the same. It's the same thing. But in most cases, you don't get these guys right here. Like I said, these are Jescar. Great company. Jescar is used on almost every brand you could think of. This right here, it's 6 feet. They just cut them in half. But when you get your frets to do your frets, like I said, if you have a Gibson or anything like that, they're already going to be cut. They're already going to be cut to length. Just remember, this is your top. This is your tang. So you gotta seat your tang. If you don't have shaky hands like me, seat your tang. Give it a nice push down. Hold the edge. You can see my thumb right here. Hold your edge. Take your hammer, whatever your hammer's gonna be. Don't use a real hammer. That's why this is perfect, because it doesn't damage the frets. Hold it with your finger. Get it nice and level. Cut it off. Sometimes they'll fly at you. So then what you want to do is you want to go back with your fret leveler. See if I can't angle you down just to tickle. There you go. You can see that. You can see it now. So go down here. You're gonna hold it. You see it's not perfectly straight. You want to hold it at a slight little angle. You're just going across. Making sure that they're nice and level. Which they are. Sometimes I go back. I just give them an extra tap. What I do too is when I do these, besides always having this guy, have this guy with you. Always have the leather with you. You just hold it at, so this is perfectly straight. Here, I'll do it this way. This is perfectly straight. Just cockeyed just a little bit. It doesn't need to be too much. But always check your frets. Another thing that you can do, like I said, if they're too high, that's why I don't beat them in. That's why I just set them in here. Nice and easy. And I will feel it in my fingers. And if I didn't get my slot cut all the way, this is my actual, it fits the perfect for your tang. This is the only thing. This is for this and cut your notches. But always go back into your fretboard. If you're going to, especially after you stain or after you level it, go back, go in your hole, and always make sure that you get everything out of there, because if you don't get everything out of there and wood is built up, what will happen is your fret will be unlevel and it'll be high. So always make sure you clean those. I did this 4 times already, but I'll just do it with you guys while I'm on. You just go through them, carefully put it in there, and just pull it backwards. And like I said, take your time. This isn't something to rush. Never rush this job. Always take your time on this job. Okay. So I set them in there. If I can get my hand to stop shaking for a second. So I set them in there. I give it a little push. Hold it with your finger. I think you can see my thumb. I'm holding it with my thumb. We're just going in here. Alright, and start your process all over again. Like I said, you know, if you're doing, Just does frets for everybody. There's other fret name companies out there who do these guys, but, you know, if you get your actual guitar, they already have them from one end to the other. But basically, just remember what you want to do is you want to seat one side in fully. It can be sticking over a little bit because you're going to crown them anyways. And then you just hold it with your thumb. You can do it with any finger, but I like my thumb. Get up in here, come in at the same angle these are set at. And I'll go back again. I'll go back and I'll feel them. Like this. I will barely pull. Every time I do this, plus it's sharp. You can cut your fingers open, so be careful. We check for any wound. Unfortunately, like I said, I had to do two. Because when I was sitting there cutting them, my hand trimmer started. So I had to glue some of them in. Some people say glue, other people don't. But as long as you get it seated. That's why every time you beat these in, so you're checking to see how tight it is on the tang, so it doesn't roll out or it's uneven. Take your fret leveler, come in slightly at an angle. I'm rocking it back and forth with my hand. And I'll come in and I'll rock it forwards and backwards. I'll rock it side to side. You don't see that because I'm not doing it that much, but I rock it side to side, and then I rock it front to back. And you just, you know, keep doing the same process over and over again. So I'm going to set this in here. Give it a little push. Keep your thumb on the end. I just thought it'd be funny to use this guy because I don't like big ass hammers, you know what I mean? And this isn't damaging the fretboard at all. I just added weight by just putting a little bit of... Because it's plastic. That was given to me years ago as a gag gift. I'll have to show you that toolbox. So you can see with my finger, I'm checking it. I'll do this 2 or 3 times if I have to. Like I said, it's a fun job, but it really is a pain in the ass job. So, hope you guys are doing well out there on this Monday. So I got something going on next month for June. I don't want to say anything too early with you guys just yet. All I can say is that what's going on next month is going to be awesome. So I'm trying to wrap up this guitar. I don't think I can get another one built, but before then completely. But I'm going to try. But something awesome is going to happen for next month, and I'm going to take you guys along for the ride and the journey. I'll show you the stock side. That's the stock side. You see how, if you're looking at it, they're like this. So we're going to crown these, or like what I like to say is, if you look at your fancy guitar, the fancy guitar companies, if you look at the frets, damn, I cut my finger open on that. If you look at the frets on the ends, your ends of your frets. So like I said, doing a fret job, be careful because this'll it'll tear your fingers open nice, turn your hands into barbecue meat. But they're a teardrop. Well, raindrop, teardrop slash raindrop is how they look, and that's what I have to do to dress my frets. So basically, I will take, not with you guys because this is a long process doing that. I just want to get on here and do this and update you guys on the Fallout build, that it's done, completed. Another thing that's going on is I had this Voyager magazine, Nashville Voyager magazine, get a hold of me, and they wanted to do a story on American Heritage guitars and the guitars. So I had to do a little photo shoot for that. So like I said, if you follow me on Instagram, American Heritage Guitar 79, I put up some photos that are a part of that I sent off. So sometime here soon, I should be in their magazine. Nashville Voyager magazine. It's a musician's magazine. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I'll get a lot more of this stuff done. But like I said, I just want to get on here with you guys. I wanted to do the fretwork with you guys. And show you guys the full-out guitar is completely built. So like I said, take your time. That's all you gotta do is you take your time, guys. In the words of Alabama, I'm in a hurry and I don't know why. I keep rushing and rushing because life's no fun. Because all you gotta do is live and die. And I'm in a hurry and I don't know why. Good song. That song speaks volumes, man. Let me tell you what. Come on. Pain in my ass. But yeah, so I think all that stuff's going to be awesome. It's going to be cool. Like I said, doing this is always trial and error, you know? You just got to take your time. And always get the best frets, by the way. These are nickel. Like I said, line it up. I don't know how well you guys can see. Maybe you might be able to see down there. Stick it, drop it down a little bit. Okay, there, you can see the fretboard now. So get it in here. Line up your fret. If you don't have hand trimmers, that is. Line up your fret. Get that thing seated. You just push it down with the thumb. Well, I froze. Take your, as you can see my thumb, Take your fret leveler. Alright, we're good. I just have OCD, so I go back and... Alright, last one, guys. But I will update you guys more. Hopefully, knock on wood, I won't get sick again. And have bronchitis. Because that was no fun at all. Same angle. I am done. Like I said, always take your time on this. Hold your fret leveler. Don't hold it perfectly straight. You're going to hold it like cockeyed just a little bit. You got to rock it front to back, side to side. Make sure they're not uneven or no high spots. Make sure that your frets are perfectly seated. I go back. I check it with my fingers. I'm very careful because it's sharp as hell. Go back one last time. Alright, let's go bottom to top. So that's another thing I guess that could confuse some of you if you're not, when somebody says, you know, play lower on the guitar, this is lower, this is higher. Because these are higher octaves and these are lower octaves. So if you had a piano and you're tuning your guitar to the piano, you know, like your D, D. So higher, lower. So this is the bottom of the neck and this is the top of the neck. So you say, making sure everything's nice and level, even though I already did that once. But it doesn't hurt to do it again. It's like I said, not with you guys because it's going to take too long. But I'm going to get my Dremel out and cut these off. And then I'm going to start dressing them to get them nice and neat and soft. So that's the fret job in a nutshell. So I think this build is going to be really cool. You know, how I did that Padron box. So I think for you guys out there, if you're a cigarette smoker or a cigar smoker, take your ashes, rub it into whatever you're staining, then put the stain on top, and it's going to create something cool. So basically when I go stain up top here for my tuners, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing on the back of the neck. I'm going to try to make a skunk mark on the back of here. I'm just going to take my ashes, line them up in here so it's darker and then lighter. Because this curly maple, man, the camera doesn't do it justice, and my light in the kitchen is crappy anyways. But this stuff is absolutely just, it's amazing. And I think that my honey is going to complement this pretty damn well. I'd say anyways, but hey, that's just me. I gotta be biased. When I was talking about doing my frets, so this is the miter box. This is the miter box. So what you do is, you take your fretboard of choice, your fret marks, and you make your fret marks. So when you make your fret marks, and this is sitting nice and level, then what you do is you take your fretting step, but it does get it exact. So it's really good to have. Makes your life much easier and better, in my opinion. So that's the fret miter box. So like I said, I'm going to do that little bit of stuff. I'm going to get things rocking and rolling and setting up for standing here. And this neck be a whole other animal. I guess I can do the other part of what I was talking about with you guys here in just a second. So let me get my frets put away. Okay, so let me pick some stuff up. Alright, so when it comes to your headstock, I'm going to go in this little box over here. Let me turn you guys this way. I'm going to go in my here. This has all my templates in it. I still have to get the F-hole cut in the box. But these guys right here, they're a great thing to have, I'll tell you what. So we're doing 2 right, 2 left. And what's awesome about these is right here, you see these lines right here? Basically, that's your string tree. It tells you that your lines are going to be perfectly straight. So you just straighten this up over here. Alright. So make sure that this is perfectly straight. Come in here. Hold this in place. Okay. I always make these marks so when I set this up, I know that these dots here, that is where my strings are going to align, and you can take it. So since I'm not using a nut and my 0 fret is a jumbo fret, I basically take this guy right here for the string tree, I will line this up on the nut, and I will take my marker and mark those, and then I can get my holes done so they can stay in there, since I like to wail and bend as about as much as I can. So it's another thing you can do. So then the other thing, I'll just grab them out of here. Okay. Switch you guys back this way. So I've got my 500K pots and I've got my 250. I think I still have, yeah, my 500K. I don't think I've got any 250s left. I think they're all 500. There's a 250. I got a couple of them left. And then my jacks. These are short shafts, just like you would find in a Tele and pretty much every big name out there. So those are the ones I use. I've got my 250K and I've got my 500K. So those are always in there. I think it was the other one I was trying to grab. Oh, okay. This is the one I was trying to grab. Okay, so basically, here's one of the parlor tuners. Okay. So a trick is, now this is where it becomes personal preference. So I use my block of wood. I use this big old block piece. You can see it was a junk piece, and I use this. So when I usually put it on my chair, but when I go to cut, I make sure this is sitting perfectly flat. So then that way the back doesn't blow out, and you don't get the splinters and it looks like crap. I mean, you can fix it, but you don't want that. So I always use my block. Another trick of the trade is what you do is this shaft right here. You want to line up what drill bit, and what you also want to make sure is if you're using bushings, which most new age ones, they come with these that screw in. Here, just give me a second. These new age ones, these have the screw in bushings. But since I'm using 1950s parlor tuners, so the trick is, with the shaft and the bushing, don't get it oversized. But if you accidentally get it oversized, if you're going to do this, then you need to glue these guys in place. So, you don't do no bigger than the head, you don't do no bigger than the butt. So what you want to do is you want to line it up. That is going to be a perfect squeeze fit. So you gotta line these babies up. And that's all you gotta do. I forgot to put it back so I won't lose it. So I'm gonna get these drilled. I'm gonna get this thing ready for staining, so I can dress my frets, get the stain job and all that stuff done. But like I said, always line these up with the bushings. Don't oversize it. Undersize it a bit. So then you can take your hammer and carefully do those bushings in. These parlor style tuners, and with the setup that we have going here, those are plastic bushings. They're not metal, so you have to be careful with them. And if you don't have a good stockpile, like I've got tons over here, then you're gonna be in trouble. But that's just one little, trick to do and remember. Don't oversize it, undersize it a little bit, so it can be pushed in its seat. Because once your tuners go in, and you start putting tension on the tuners will pull slightly downwards. So you want to make sure they have a good seat. I mean, if you want to put a little bit of extra glue on it, the major super glue or where that shit won't come out, then do that. In a nutshell, do it that way. So like I said, I'm going to get the stuff done myself. I'm going to get off here with you guys so I can listen to music and not get a spanking, because I really want some more music. Another thing that I'm going to do here is, if you are, I'm a Mohair guy, but I love my Novas. I love a good El Camino, but I also love an SS. And 57 Chevys, Bel Airs. So with that, once I stain the neck and all that, this is gonna go on the headstock. I'm gonna figure out how to do the do. But this is gonna go on the headstock. Spirit of 57, baby. 57 Chevy. Never go wrong with it. Even though I'm a Mopar guy, I still love my 57 Chevy, I'll tell you what. So I'm going to do that little bit of stuff. And, I'll come back, check in with you guys, give you guys updates on how this is going. Um, and all that stuff. And hopefully I'm having a good hand day where we can fire everything up and turn the amp on. But there's a lot of work for me to do yet. So, like I said, I want to get my tuner holes done so I can get this thing stained and dried. I got to get my tuners, I've got to get my frets. I've got to get these burrs cut up the side of it, and start getting those dressed. But I want to get my staining done. Get this thing rocking and rolling, and once you start staining this, and like I say, curly, this stuff is awesome. It's incredible. So, I'm going to give it one more quick sand. I'm going to get that done. And like I said, we've got to cut all this down. So that's just going to take time. I don't have a table saw. I wish I did. I wish I had one, but I don't. So I got to do all that by hand with my old 1950 Sears Roebuck. Do it like I'm sawing down a tree. So I've got a lot of work to do, guys. A lot of work. But I love you guys. Thank you all so much for loving support. I hope that answers everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this thing. You're going to see this thing a lot more. Believe me, like I said, I've got something coming up for June, but I don't want to tell you guys what that is just yet. But believe me, it's going to be incredible. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. But I just can't give you guys any more information than that. But I hope you enjoyed the Fallout build. I hope you enjoyed it, because I really enjoyed this thing. Just a little bit of tweaking. Go figure. It's all right. It happens. But man, I tell you what, I cannot wait. See how that changes color? It's dark to light. Adding my tobacco in there and just grounding it in there and then putting a stain on it, it just did something to this box, man. It just added to the like I said, it looks old as dirt. This box looks like it's from the 1920s, 1930s, but it's not. This box is probably like a 5-year-old box at best. So I made it look way older than that. I don't know, I like that stuff rough and tough and beat up. Another thing I'm going to try to do with you guys this year is I want to try to build my hubcap guitar. I got a Chevy one up there. I've got a Ford one up there. I believe that Ford one was from a Thunderbird. Memory serves me correct. I'll have to relook at it upstairs. I want to do a diddly bow video for, parents and, a build-along video, that parents can watch and they can build a diddly bow, because that's what started all this music, guys. Before metal and before this and before that and da-da-da-da-da-da, these rough cigar box guitars and diddly bows, it started it all. That's just the truth. It's undeniable, and diddly bows are fun to build. You guys love the washboard, so do I. But I want to build another one where, you guys can build along. I just have to decide if I want to do the box or I want to build the diddly bow out of the 1950s. It's an old coffee maker, the ones you can just set on the fire. It's one of those weird paint job one, that high heat stuff that almost looks like turquoise. It's one of those old ones. I want to build a diddly bow called Cup of Joe. So there's a lot more stuff I want to do, but I want to get off here with you guys. I want to get these tuner holes done here, and get this thing ready for a stain job. Yeah, and just go from there. This thing's gonna look a lot different here before too long. But I just love y'all. Thank y'all so much for loving support, guys. And we'll catch you on the flip side of the dark side of the moon back here at AHG here a little bit. Just all of you guys have a good rest of your Monday. I love you. Get out there. Get the picking. And dreaming. And building. And rocking out. Rocking out. And just have fun, guys. It's about having fun, feeling the music, writing the music. I've got more stuff written down. This is my muse. Besides my telly, obviously, which is the only one I have for a regular six stringer. But I want these two to be my other muse. You know what I mean? You know? Uh, but guys, I love y'all. I can never say that enough. I just love you guys. I'm going to get ready to get this thing stained since we got the frets done. Yeah, buddy. So you can see We the People right there. You can see it. It's all ghosted. We the People. With the American flag. The old 13 colonies, actually. But this thing is absolutely incredible. You can see it right there. We the People. Yeah, get this thing ready to be stained. I just gotta drill my holes. Drill my holes. And ready to go. Alright, guys. I love you. It's been fun for over an hour talking to y'all and trying to remember what I want to talk about. I said try to remember. I think that about sums it up in a nutshell, guys. Just have a good rest of your Monday, and I'll be back here next couple days here. I want to get some more of this work done, and I'll keep updating you guys. But this build's awesome, and like I said, you know, good to Fallout 73. This thing was awesome. Such an awesome guitar. I absolutely love it. I love y'all. Stay good. Be true. Be real. Be you. Always lift people up. You know. Try to save as many as you can. And, you know, always deliver light out into the world. Deliver the brightest light you can through the darkest tunnel you can. I love you guys so much. I'll be back here soon. Alright, guys? Love y'all.